one last session before coffee break. Okay, I have a very important announcement first though. At 1:45 there is a bus leaving for the airport. Yeah, if you want to be on it at coffee break, if you could put your name on the flip chart at the back. Okay, I'm going to be bus monitor. Make sure you're on the bus. So if your name's on top of it, you have every danger of it leaving backwards. So I'll remind you later, but if you put your names on the board at coffee break, that would be much appreciated. Denmark, it's great to see Dilab and the team here. One of our longest established partners. I can't remember exactly, but I think within the list, 5th or 6th country that became a SPA partner. So some real history. So great to see you back. And I'd like to invite Dilab to talk to us about the work they're doing on integrating training, change management and performance management.
Thank you. Nice show you did this morning, Emma. Thank you very much for that. And I didn't set it up, I promise some of your colleagues did that. Thank you very much for our host from last night. It was a great evening. Thank you very much. What I'm going to talk about is, I'll come back to it right away. I'll just tell you a little bit about Dagrofa, which I work for. We were bought for about 2 years ago by Norgesgruppen, so Norway, they actually own also that part of Denmark. They don't own the most, I can tell you. We're the poor little brother. So, we have in the Danish market, the competitive is very hard. We have been losing market share for the last 35 years in the Dagrofa. So it's been a hard declining of coming to work for, so we have to change the mindset of we actually have a culture of building up through that we're declining, we're losing market share. We did all right and we lost a little bit, but we didn't lose 5-0, and we only lose 3-0, but we still lost. So SPA 5.0 is one of the things we're doing that. And 5.0 is a working title. It actually comes out of our performance management. We do monthly assessment of leaders where we have the score from 1 to 5, and 5 you are a high performer. So this is a SPA as a high performer in Denmark to try to win some market shares. We used to be, we have been a SPA member for many years. We used to have about 450 SPA shops in Denmark. For some years ago, we had 4 SPA brands. We had Quick Spa, we had Super Spa, Spa, and Eurospa. And the Danish customers, they couldn't figure it out. They thought it was something out in the countryside, and they said, "Oh, we can't figure that out." And they were actually, we are losing market share, so we have to change the brands. So therefore, we started downsizing to 1 SPA brand, which is SPA, which leaves us with 120 SPA stores at the moment. Out of these 120 SPA stores, 110 are owned by independent retailers, and we have 10 of ourselves. The 10 we have is not supposed to be ours. We have to find a new one to own it because we don't want to open it. It's running better when people own it by themselves. The problem with SPA was that the diversity in the shops was enormous, and the customer, if you went to one shop to another, you couldn't recognize it was a SPA except for the brand, the sign on the front. So we made this SPA project, and what we did was, what I'm going to say was what is SPA 5.0 and the change process and about training. And I started this quote. This is Søren Kierkegaard. He's a Danish philosopher. He died many years ago. And he said, everybody wants development, but no one changes. Especially in the northern part of Europe. I don't know how it is in the rest of, but in the part I work in, the higher you get up in the organization, the leaders always look around and say, we need some changes around here. And it has to be the guys out there have to do it. They have to start. And we have to be better, but no one wants to change themselves. It's probably not like that in your countries, but they work like that. And we have 120 independent retailers. That's 120 CEOs. So You have 120 CEOs who have to agree on that they have to do some changes, and they start for themselves. That's pretty hard. So I'll tell you about what we do, and maybe later can learn a little bit about that. That's all the experience we have done, good or bad. What the things we did, the initiatives we started to do up, this is basic thing if you ask them. The thing on the left is what we said we come from the back office, and the thing is right what we say. That's what you're going to start doing with your stuff. And when we showed them this, all the retailers, they said, we are already doing that. And all the surveys we've got, and the customer says, we don't recognize that, we don't see that. And so you're not doing all, you don't make a difference locally. If you took the Spar brand, people in the store, they'd just come another one and change you and run the store there. So we wouldn't the local store, they didn't do this. We said one thing new for them, that you're going to do daily sales board meeting. You have to tell your sales number, what is your objectives for the day, for the week, for the month, and tell your employees about it, and then invite them in to help you to gain the objectives. And we asked the employees, and only about 5% actually know the objectives for their store, which was it's like I came out and I spoke to the store managers and said, have you ever played a football match or some match or something where you don't count the points? Yeah, that's right. And then you start counting points at some stage, and the game sort of changes. Yeah, we do that. It's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. If the employees don't know what we are wanting for, why should they make do a difference for them to do 5% more? We will come up with a new of these things, and I don't want to go through it all, but I'll just tell you something about it. And we did 4 things as a concept change. We need some fresh fruit, more fresh fruit. We need some lower price. We have some and some of the calories. And we have a bagel, and we have some fast. It's not a fast. It's almost like you can go in and have a menu and just take it up. I don't know what it's called, convenience sort of solution. And we have to roll these 4 concepts out in all the stores, so the customers, doesn't matter where they went, in all 120, they'll find this. And then we told them that we will, when we go live, we will change the front name of the Spar sign to the first name of the local shop owner. So we as a symbol that we are local. So and they like that very much. The process was we had to bring them through this model. You probably know this model. This is I don't know who made it actually. I've just stole it from someone. I do that a lot. I'll show you some more later. But you actually have to get all the shopkeepers from going in and say, you have to do it. We have to do a change. And then we bring them along this, and they have to be over here to be ready to do the acceptance of we have to make a significant change in our way of running our stores. The way we did that was, I'll come back to that, I'll show you this model again. And then I took this model, I built this model, and I'm very proud of it. It's actually another model I stole from another guy I know, a colleague, and I just changed a few words in it, and then I said it was mine. But the thing is that you have to bring people through in their mindset so they accept the changes. And when they have accepted the change that they want to do, as Kierkegaard said, that you are ready for making the development, you can actually start training them. And that's what the step number 4 is. That's where you actually tell them how to. It's a little bit about what Keith said this morning. You can't train people who can't understand why they should be trained. So this model is actually built how to do that. What we did is actually we started to get their attention by telling them this is wrong, we're going to die in 5 years. If it's declining the same way, we will close Spar within 5 years. And good luck if you want to stay on that train, or you can maybe we can take another direction. Then we did some understanding about what we wanted. We showed them some of the things I've showed you today, and then we started to involve them. And what we did there, there's a boat going from Copenhagen to Oslo. We call it the Oslo boat. It's a ferry. It takes about 14 hours. We brought them along there. You can't run away. We sort of got them on the boat, And we did a workshop. They hated doing workshops. They hated to present for each other, and they hated to acknowledge each other about how another colleague did it. They didn't like that. They liked to talk about themselves, and they liked to talk about how bad we were at the back office, and how much better they would do it if they were working there. So we put them on the stage, and then did some workshops, and we actually made them identify what is our success, what is working in what we're doing today, and what is not working, what should we stop doing. And besides that, we went up to Norway and we saw some of Helene's shops, and drove around in Oslo, a nice city, you have to go there somebody if you haven't. And then we took the ferry back. On the way back, we actually made them do some new workshop where they made the decision about the 4 concepts we were rolling up. That was actually the shop owners who made that decision about which one should we start with. They said, well, you can choose 4, not 3 keep, but 4. And we rolled it out. So when we landed in Copenhagen 36 hours later, they have decided that they designed the new Spark concept in Denmark. So we twisted the arm around and said, if this is going to be rubbish and the customer, it's your fault, it's not ours anymore. We didn't say that, but they understood. And then we started to train, and then and that's where we. So we start with this one, and that's what I'm going to tell you about now. The training is that the employees should understand what is Spark, what is the new Spark concept. It's not new, it's just refreshing and old one. And the employees should live it, and the customers should actually see a change and have an experience, a new change. I showed them this picture and I said, this is your team, this is your shop. You are one of these guys. Remember, we are all equal, we are all getting together. If you are people and even though you only work 3 hours, you're a part-time student and work for you 3 hours, they all have a role and make, until today, they have just been labor for them. We try to invite them in and say, this young guy here, he might only work 3 hours a week, but he's very important. The 3 hours is there. He makes a difference. He meets a lot of customers in 3 hours. So we made this training program. We did a training program. We started with a management team and specialist training and behavioral training. And the thing about the change model is that it starts from the layer. We started with the top layer, we started with the shop owners, and then we take the leaders, the management team of the shops, and the next level is the rest of the employees. So you have to bring all through the same mindset. Not only the leaders, but also the employees. They have to understand the why, as Keith told us this morning. What we did some growth management training. That's I'll show you a little bit about that. We did some whiteboard training. That is actually to stand here and stand in front of a whiteboard and tell your employees what is the objectives for the day of the week, and ask them how they can actually improve on it. And then we did some leadership coaching actually to ask them to do the right questions, to ask the right questions about, so the employees do some reflections. Then we did some specialist training and behavior training. We also outlined a very important thing in our whole leadership thing, is that the reality we are a part of. If you go to a restaurant and the kitchen explodes, a fire burns down to the ashes, you actually don't care, you still expect to get your soup or whatever you order. We told them it's exactly the thing about our customers. You can't look for excuses about there's a competitor opening a store 2 kilometers down the road. It's just part of your reality. The only difference between the reality is the leadership you put into it. There's only one thing that makes a difference. That's how you are a leader for your employees. So if that's the truth, then we can actually find out who is a good leader because of the results they make. And that was a new eye-opener for our shopkeepers, because suddenly we actually took all the 120 shops and made it public for them to see who was the top performer and who was the lowest performer. And they don't like that. We started to do that. You probably know this. This is about setting corner flags, so the employees, if you get them within the, set some frame for them to work with, they can actually come up with their own ideas. So it's very, we train them instead of coming up with the answers, come up with, say, what's the corners for what the house should, what they should do, so come up with, and then let them take their own, find out and by themselves what the solution is, what the how is, set the goal for them, and then let them find the how possible. Then we did the table, the whiteboard trainer, the sales trainer, and then it looks like this. It's very quite easy to make. Hard to see in this one, but it's also about what's the goals, what's the activities, what's the weekly advertising, and maybe a birthday down the corner and stuff like that. And they have these meetings every morning at between 7 and 8. And in the big stores, they have it also in the afternoon when the young people are coming in after school. So they have 2 or 5 twice a day. We had 4 employee demands, we could call it. And that's the 4 ones. Everybody who starts at the group, we tell them, if you don't know that, ask your leader about it. If he doesn't know it, then he should ask his leaders. And that's, you have to know what is the target for the day or month or the year, depends which department you work for. How do I contribute to that target? Even though if you're sitting in the cash, you have to the register or whatever you do, you have a part of that, you have a role in that. How do I perform in my job? If you don't know how to perform in your job, you have to ask it. Some of you guys actually told you that. And how become a better employee in my job? The 4 things we train them, we tell them, and we actually work with them in their coaching. We did some specialist training. We did some when these skip that today. And then the last thing we did was behavioral training, which is very similar to what Keith showed us this morning. We gave them all the same shirt on, so we built the tribe. We took them and we went around. We did the last one last week, and we talked about we invited all the employees, even the young people who only work there 3-4 hours. We invited them to locations all over Denmark, and we told them about the concept, what is SPA. We told them about the culture. We told them about the 4 employee demands of how, and we actually asked them and let them have a sort of action learning, fewer questions, let them discuss with each other. And then we did some sales training at the end, which is actually behavioral. And that's what we did. We did some power move, and we did some, we did play a lot of music and stuff like that. And it works. If you question about it, it works. Put people in a room, do some dancing together, find some common objectives, and make them proud of being a part of that team, and send them out the door. They're about 10% higher, all of them, when you go out. It's fantastic to see. Even people who have been working for us for 30 years, they come out and say, why didn't you do this for 30 years ago? We do it now. I always use this one as again, I steal from I've said it before. And we actually go out and ask people when they come to, we have some exit interviews. We ask the customers, how do you feel the employees are in this? And if they say, we find that they're proud of their store, and we don't move quite a bit. One of the things we did, we gave them a key card. I have actually one here. It's the easiest thing to give them. Look like this. And it says, for one thing on the other side, it says this 7 on the right. And we told them that they can drop it again when they can lift this, they can dance this, they can sing this, they can whatever. Day and night, and they don't have to wear it anymore. Until then, they just wear it and try to live by it. My last picture is that one, and I love that picture. Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
You've seen it? It's from the same place in the world, but
Vatican.
it's taken 7 years, 8 years between. It's not so far, it's a bit south from here. It's in Rome,
Vatican.
Vatican. And when the Pope was, the new Pope was, came on what do you call that?
Window.
Yeah, whatever. When he started, his first day of job. And no one actually asked these people to bring their cameras, they just did it. Same place, 8 years between. The whole world is actually involved. The whole world is moving. And then we ask our leaders, how have you moved your leadership in the last 8 years? And we actually asked them to answer that question in writing. And most of them came back and said, we haven't. And that's the whole problem. And that's why we were in the situation we were, but now we are doing something about it. It's a fantastic picture. That was it.